Hey, this is Douglas Lucky Larson, and let's dive right into this CNBC article that tells you the most expensive states to retire in the USA. And then I will tell you why this article is stupid and bogus because statistics and averages and the so called rules of retirement do not apply to me and do not need to apply to you. Well, as you know, this channel is all about retiring early and often. And I have actually been able to do that most of my adult life. And when I say retire, I do not mean like the verb to lie down. No, retire early and often means to incorporate the most important things that you think you will want in retirement into your life right now. That may be more recreation, but think leisure bike rides and maybe municipal golf courses instead of luxury cruises, luxury hotels, and high end country clubs. I think of surfing and spending time with family and friends and writing books and making videos, along with managing my rental properties. Now, most of my adult life, I have been able to live in places where I have great weather, plenty of activities, and plenty of opportunities for church and social and family gatherings, and most importantly, time enough to do those things. I have only had a day job like, 8 to 5 and reporting to an office and a boss for about 8 years of my whole life. Now, with some creativity and a little planning and maybe a small sacrifice here and there, you can retire early and often almost anywhere. Now, it might be a little more difficult in North Korea, Hong Kong, downtown London, New York. How about San Francisco or Toronto, Canada, and a few other very expensive places or communist regimes. But for right now, let's dig into this article from CNBC, and then I will tell you why it's actually pretty lame. And then I'll give you some examples of retiring early and often right now, no matter where you live. So let's look at this a little bit closer. If you're dreaming of spending retirement lounging on one of Hawaii's pristine beaches, well, make sure you've saved up enough money. That's because Hawaii ranks as one of the most expensive states to retire. In fact, the most expensive state to retire in 2022, according to recent data from Bankrate. To calculate each state's level of affordability, Bankrate analyzed the Community and Economic Research's July 2022 Cost of Living Index and the Tax Foundation's 2022 rankings, blah, 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 blah. Here are the 7 least affordable states to retire in 2022 according to Bankrate. Number 1, Hawaii. 2, California. 3, Connecticut. 4, Massachusetts. 5, New Jersey. 6, Vermont. And 7, Rhode Island. It goes on to say, if you're set on retiring comfortably in Hawaii, you'll need about $2 million saved up, reports Sam Dogan, CNBC contributor, da 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 da. He says the median household income in Honolulu County, for example, is $88,000. If someone wanted to withdraw that $88,000 from their assets each year, they would need about $2,200,000 in investments to withdraw at a rate of 4%. All right, that on its face is kind of bogus, but we'll talk about that in a second. Now, however, most Americans don't have anywhere close to that amount saved. And of course, that does seem like a daunting amount. It certainly used to for me. But here's the thing, is when it says most Americans, well, what's it talking about? Yeah, that's like age 18 and up. Well, of course, most Americans don't have that amount saved up. It says the typical American has about 35,000. Well, yeah, age what? If that was the typical amount saved up and you were already 60 years old, yeah, most Americans are in trouble. But I don't think it's quite that bad. I've seen the numbers, and I think once people approach retirement age, not only do they have Social Security to look forward to, let's hope, but they also have, somewhere between $100,000 and $300,000. saved up. That's people who are getting close to retirement age. Okay. Now, um, a comfortable retirement can mean different things to different people. It's important to determine what that looks like for you. When retirement is not defined, it's very difficult to be prepared emotionally or financially. Now, then it talks about a couple other things. But hey, let's get real here. First of all, a state is a huge amount of real estate, and you can't just say, blanket Hawaii is just too unaffordable. That's just not true. Some of the stupid things that we read are like that you have to have $1 or $2 million or more to retire. And, they're talking usually about a 60-40 split between stocks and bonds and then taking 4% per year. And that's for the last 10 or 15 years of your life when you're probably experiencing restricted mobility, declining health. And you know what? That always sounded terrible to me. Again, statistics and averages and the so called rules of retirement do not apply to me, and they do not need to apply to you. To lump all of the average statistics together and then claim that one state is just too expensive, it's especially in a place like Hawaii that I know very well, it's just a false narrative. Let's talk specifically. Now, I lived in Hawaii for about 10 years, both on Oahu and Maui. There are definitely some expensive spots. If you want to live in Hawaii Kai, it's going to be very costly. If you want to live in a luxury condo way in the top of some luxury tower, it's going to be very expensive. But there's some affordable places. And if you're okay to live on the leeward side of Oahu, way up on the west side, up away from all the tourism and the traffic, well, it's a lot more affordable up there. If you are willing to rent out spaces in your home to roommates or travelers, you can actually do pretty well. I personally owned five different properties on Maui while I lived there. All the while, everybody around me was complaining it was just too expensive, but I was able to go out and get loans. And then I had housemates that lived in part of my houses, little ohana units or things, and they literally paid most of my mortgages for me. Your lifestyle in a warm climate, please remember, it can include a lot of wonderful outdoor activities that are free. Surfing, kayaking, snorkeling, hiking, biking, swimming, visiting waterfalls, and just reading a book in a hammock. Those things are all free. And some of the small municipal golf courses, little 9-hole courses here and there, are super cheap in Hawaii if you are a ka'amaina and you have a local driver's license. Now, you don't need a big house or lots of clothing when you live at the beach or near the beach. You don't have expensive utility bills if you've got a home or condo that catches an ocean breeze. Of course, you can also shop at Costco or Walmart to save some money on food. And it's also very easy to grow fruits and vegetables and trade with your neighbors when you live in the islands. I did all those things. I had bananas and papayas in my backyard, and always, a couple of little buckets of some patio tomatoes and all kinds of things. If you're creative, there's incredible ways to live affordably in the islands. And again, they lump all of Hawaii together. But if you know anything about Hawaii, say for instance the Big Island of Hawaii, it's the biggest island, it's the one far to the east of all the other islands. It has a more affordable side on the east coast that's not so popular with tourists and celebrities, so home prices and rents are still pretty decent. Just don't get in the way of the lava from the active volcano over there. Now, I grew up in Southern California, and I've also owned 7 homes in San Diego County. It's more great weather, and certainly there are ways to live affordably, even though California as a state, and as you'll notice from this list, it's number 2 on a list of the least affordable places to retire. But there's still ways to be creative and make it work. Now, Nobody there is happy right now with high gas prices. A lot of people are upset with the taxes and the traffic and the homeless population that seems to be all over the larger cities. But I still own a property in North San Diego County, about 3 miles from the ocean. It's got a main house in front that's rented and a little casita in the back where I spend time with my family. The tenants more than pay for my bills, and I'm looking to buy a place just like it in Florida so I can have a place to visit there as well. Just not in a flood zone. Thank you, Hurricane Ian, for pointing those out even better than before. Now, I know a lot of people in very expensive real estate markets who have found creative ways to rent out spaces in their homes or to travelers or simply to rent out the whole house during the summer months and maybe even around Christmas time when they, the homeowners, want to travel elsewhere. You can often make 2 or 3 times what normal rent would be in your area if you rent out a furnished home or furnished spaces in your home. If you are creative, you can always find ways to finance real estate and then have other people pay for your early retirement lifestyle. So, as you can tell, I'm a big fan of real estate. Now, there are other ways to do well and invest well and create a great life. But real estate represents your single biggest expense every month. Some people talk about, not buying a coffee at Starbucks every morning or, bringing your own lunch to work. Those things can be good, sure. But whether it's rent or mortgage, your single biggest expense, the big giant elephant in the room, is housing. Again, whether it's rent or mortgage, you got to pay for this thing. Unless you want to go live in a van or a tiny house, and I've made videos on those as well. But if you can instead take that problem of housing and turn it into an income stream instead of just an expense, you are 3/4 of the way to the lifestyle that you want. And that's why simply reading an article like this and taking it as gospel truth is just stupid. You can retire early and often no matter where you live. Hey, would you please comment below and let me know if you've got some other insights about how to retire early and often, even if you live in a very expensive place or want to live in a very expensive place. And please like, subscribe, and share. It helps out our channel quite a bit. Let other people know what you're watching, and maybe this can help them as well. Now, I hope to see you on the next video. And we like to focus on all kinds of creative ways to create the best lifestyle. Take it easy, and hope to see you again soon.